So I'd like to introduce you to Marissa Gibson. She goes by Mag. Mag is a dynamic presentation designer and speaker who helps ideas bloom with clarity and style. Known for turning messages into impactful visuals, she brings creativity and precision to every stage she steps on. She executes your vision with precision because with Mag, there's always a reason to brag. All right, Marissa, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such a vibrant introduction, Angela. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say what a beautiful garden I'm standing in here today. I mean, look at all these beautiful faces. I just absolutely love it. The garden is, however, not just beautiful, it holds generations of wisdom. Every woman has the power to reinvent herself, and each generation shapes what that reinvention looks like. Isn't that powerful? I mean, just think about it for a second, ladies. Our grandmothers, our mothers, and even us, we all have a hand in planting the seed of womanhood's next bloom. So let's dig in. Just as every new season has its own unique mood and weather, each generation of women has a personality and ambition all its own, sowing its own ideals and definitions of success, beauty, power, and freedom. Whether it's baby boomer women constantly pushing boundaries, Gen X women redefining family structures and career paths, millennial women saying no to tradition and choosing their own happiness, or even us Gen Z ladies who have something to say when it comes to just about everything. Women are constantly redefining womanhood and femininity. Germinating generational impact. As we all know, a woman's work is never quite finished, much like tending a beautiful garden. This is represented in the soil, which is our foundation laid by our mothers and our grandmothers. It's rich with the love, nurturing, and lessons that they've passed down to us. It's what sustains our initial growth. And those lessons, well, think of them as little seeds placed in the palms of our hands, just waiting to be planted and nurtured as we please. It's important to remember, however, that they aren't meant to stay the exact same as when we receive them, as they're vessels of reinvention. Of course, we're bound to lose a petal or two along the way. These falling petals represent our constant evolution as women. We shed limiting self beliefs and old versions of ourselves to make room for the new us. It's reinvention in full bloom, ladies. Hydrangeas bloom from May to September, and marigolds come alive in October. Just like them, we each have our own season, our own special time to bloom. For us, this season is about stepping into womanhood and becoming her, whoever she is meant to be. Becoming the next bloom. Just like flowers from the same garden, we may share roots, but each generation blooms in its own beautiful way. The way we define concepts such as beauty, ambition, and strength, they're constantly evolving. I mean, let's be real. What was beautiful 40, 50, even 20 years ago is very different from today, right? And ambition, that's definitely shifted as well. For example, many young women are choosing paths that don't necessarily include motherhood or marriage, and those paths are just as valid as any other. The beautiful thing about reinvention is how different it looks from person to person. For some, it's starting over. For others, it's vulnerability or finding your voice, or maybe simply choosing joy unapologetically. So even if we bloom differently, what matters most is that we continue to support and show up for one another, generation to generation, woman to woman, bloom to bloom. Be the blossom they've never seen. This is where you come in. You are the blossom they've never seen before. You carry with you the love, wisdom, and resilience of the incredible women who came before you, but your blossom, that's entirely your own. You get to decide what direction you grow in, and you get to define what concepts such as power, beauty, and success mean in the context of your life. Maybe for you, blooming looks like leading your community. Maybe it looks like healing your inner child. or finally walking away from things that no longer serve you. Whatever it is, stand tall, like a beautiful sunflower, and channel your roots, and rise into the sunlight of your next chapter. Bloom boldly, bloom beautifully, bloom uniquely, and remember, there's space in the garden for your blossom, so make it unforgettable. Cultivating the next generation. Now that you've bloomed, naturally the next step is to figure out how you'll pour into the next generation. And the truth is, pouring into them doesn't require perfection, it just requires your presence. We water future blooms by showing younger women what's possible when we choose reinvention over resignation, when we rise instead of retreat, and when we evolve instead of staying stuck. Because when we do that, we're cultivating a garden, one filled with new color, new possibility, and new power. And trust me, someone younger is always watching your bloom. So, what beauty do you want her to see? Now, let's water the garden. Before we go, let's take a moment to water all of the beautiful ideas we've planted here today. We talked about our roots, how the love and wisdom passed down to us created such a rich foundation for our growth. We explored the seeds of reinvention, how we each receive tools and lessons that we then plant in our own unique way. We embraced the petals we shed, letting go of outdated beliefs to make space for the women we're becoming. And finally, we looked ahead, recognizing that our bloom has just begun, and it's now our time to start watering the next generation. It's important, ladies, to remember that we women are a flower bed. We bloom more vibrantly in a bouquet rather than as a single flower in a vase. We need each other, and we're stronger together. I've sprinkled you with a bouquet of ideas today. Now it's your turn to bloom. If you're working on a presentation and need help making your message shine visually, I'd love to invite you to a free visual bloom session. In this 30-minute one-on-one, we'll discuss ways to elevate your slides through compelling design and storytelling so that your message blossoms just the way it should. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much, Mag. That was awesome.
Yes, thank you.